Okay, it's November, winter's coming, the dark months are ahead, so it's time to upgrade the battery on the Tiger of Doom. Stick around, stay tuned, and I'll show you what happens. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage.
What up, dude?
Okay, battery on the Tiger lives under the seat. So, like so many bikes, and all we're going to do, take that off out the way. Now, if you don't ride your bike in the winter, then that's fine, that's up to you. But personally, this Tiger I ride every single day. Don't own a car, so this is my transport. Now, lately I've been noticing it's been turning over slower in the mornings. Going out 5 o'clock in the morning on an early shift, turn the key, boom, boom, boom. It's turning over slower and slower and just catching. Now, it's okay putting it on a charger, it's okay putting it on a battery reminder. Yeah, that's alright, but I think you are prolonging the inevitable. Once a battery starts to slow down, you have to look at how old it is. Read your bike. Read what the bike tells you. Listen to what it says to you. If it's turning over slower, it's clearly not got the same cranking amps that it had when it was new, that battery. And ultimately, as it drops, it won't ever heal. They don't get better. They don't improve with age. They're not like a nice wine. They are knackered and they need to be thrown out and replaced with another one. That's all about your peace of mind, isn't it? It's 5 o'clock in the morning, -2 degrees outside, got to go off to work, thumb the button, boom, the bike starts straight up and off you go. No problems at all. Also, the couple of times at the traffic lights this has been stalling. The revs are dropping down, it's stalling. That's a sure sign on this particular bike, and the way this bike's wired up is that it is dropping the ampage on the battery. And there's no point in messing about with it. They're not expensive enough to worry about. It's going to stick a new one in. This is about 5 years old, so it's time to replace it. Now, before we do anything, I want to talk also about the alarm system. If you have an alarm on your bike, this used to have one. I took it off because I prefer the convenience of having no alarm. If you have an alarm, that's up to you. If you have a Harley Davidson, you have no choice. They come with an alarm from the factory, and many new bikes do. So if you have one, the very easiest way to disconnect the battery without the alarm going off is turn the ignition on. So all you have to do, turn on the ignition. Obviously the alarm system has to be extinguished first. Once the ignition's on, hit the kill switch, so you have disarmed the coils, because you're not going to start the bike. But once that ignition is on, the alarm system goes to sleep. So all you simply do is pull the main fuse out. Once you've pulled out the main fuse, the bike's dead. Everything's dead. The alarm doesn't even know the bike exists. It's asleep. Then you can take the battery off, put a new one back on, and then you can put the fuse back in. Or you can even just disconnect the earth lead. As soon as you disconnect the earth lead, the battery is disconnected, the power's dead to the bike, and the alarm stays dead. So it works. So if that's a simple thing for you, you can use that as well. So I'm going to show you how to disconnect this. It's a very simple way. Honestly, this is not how to, but it's quite important to make one point. If you look down at the terminals, here we go, pen. Obviously you've got the ground, ground, earth, negative, whatever you want to call it, that side, and you've got the live lead, that side, signified by the fact that it's red, ever so easy. Always, and I mean always, disconnect the earth lead first, or ground lead. Reason for this is quite simple. In your battery, in this battery, there's an enormous amount of ampage. The cranking amps in this, you might be looking at 40 or 50 amps in that. So the amount of power, if you arc across there accidentally with a tool, the power that's going to arc across there is more than you'll get in an arc welder or a MIG welder. Imagine that piece of wire comes out the end of your welding machine and it just melts. Imagine if you had a ring on and you've got a spanner in your hand and you accidentally arc across the two. That's all going to take that voltage. The voltage is going to go around your ring as well, and it is a known case, very well known. People have ended up like this because of a wedding ring and an accident with a spanner. It's very well known, and accident emergency rooms will tell you this is not an uncommon thing. So take the rings off if you're going to work with a battery. If you've got a metal watch strap, doesn't that take the floor? I have a canvas one, so it doesn't matter to me, but honestly, any metal jewellery on your hands, take them off if you're going to work on a battery, because all you have to do is make a little mistake, slip, the spanner arcs across the two, or your wrench, or whatever it is you're using, and then suddenly you've got all that ampage going through your ring. It will get red hot and glow, and the chances are you will lose the digit, and that's just nasty and evil. Okay, right, so we've disconnected the earth lead first, and that means that there's no way, if you then accidentally arc from there to the frame, it's not going to arc. You're not going to get any power at all, because from there to there, there's no connection. If that is connected, if this earth lead is connected to that terminal, when you do that, obviously that goes around the bike and straight back. So you're just like arcing across the battery. So when you do this, you get the big boom sparks. So always disconnect the earth first. Can't stress it enough, folks. And obviously, if I just put that lead where it lives, watch. that can go back and just fall against it accidentally. So use a bit of common sense, grab a bit of tape or something, anything, wrap a cloth around it, elastic band, bungee, whatever, and get that terminal right out of the way, like I've done there. Get it right out of the way altogether, so it's out of the way, you're not going to drop it anywhere. And I'm even going to tape it up, because once that earth or ground or negative, whatever you want to call it, is all safe like that, can't hurt yourself. That's the battery minder tab, so that's not a problem. And now we can take off. Now that's completely removed. Take off the light and take the battery out. There we go. Right, on the bench. There we go. Now you might remember, if any of you have been watching a little while, you'll remember that we put one of these Motobatt quad flex batteries on Penny's bike. They are, in my opinion, an excellent piece of kit. They really are. Now you've got a little spacer plate there, or in fact two little spacer plates, one and then another, depending on what height you need. The battery can stand on that. What it is, quite simply, I'm not promoting Motobatt here. This is not about promoting this. We didn't give them this. This is not a buy Motobatt. They're great for all your battery needs. It's not about that, and I'll tell you, we didn't get given it. We bought it. It was £49. There we are, £48.99. And I believe that that personally is money well spent. I really do. You can buy batteries, acid-filled liquid batteries, for about £35. You really can. They're not expensive. They come with an empty battery, a little acid pack, and you upend it and you ram them down so that all the foil seals break, and then they empty their acid in. I honestly don't understand in 2014 how we're getting away with that still. With the environmental stuff that's going on these days, you can still buy plastic boxes full of sulfuric acid. Really? Anyway, you can. And those batteries, honestly, that's what one of them is. That's an acid battery. It's just got liquid in it, and you can't upend them. They are sealed. They've got this sealed top on, but personally, is it sealed? I don't know. It also says you can refill them. Well, you can't actually put any more water in, but you can put more acid in these. It's all BS, to be honest, because you can't. The minute one of those plates in there starts to sulfate, they will drop that voltage. There's 6 plates, each one's 2 volts. You'll go, one plate gets sulfated and it will drop onto 10 volts and it ain't working anymore. These, on the other hand, they're gel filled. You can mount them like that if you like. Mount them upside down, any way you want. They're like a rally battery. Who remembers rally batteries from the old days? Used to get them from Rip Speeds back in the day. Shame me hating now.
Rip Speeds? Rip
Speeds, yeah mate.
I remember that.
So all I'm trying to say is that this is a universal battery. It covers something like 5 different batteries. That's a YTX-BS, which is a YTX-12BS. And this covers up to, I think, YTX-17. It really does. Now that would go in, that's exactly the same battery we put in Penny's Harley. Same model, same one. You just go on eBay. Busters, we got this from, didn't we? Busters, which is kind of M&P accessories if you're in the UK. I'm pretty sure Harbour Freight probably do these if you're in the US, so check them out. £49, not expensive, really not. For a gel filled battery, they're an upgrade as well. They've got 30%, according to what this says, more cranking amps. So on a really freezing cold day when it's -8 outside, it's not going to let you down. Okay, what you have to do with it is this. You get a little bag of doodahs. You do have to do a little bit of work yourself, a little bit of common sense, because there are no instructions, but you can see what you have is a positive and an earth on that side and on that side as well. And the idea of that is that you orientate the thing with your battery. And we can see that here, the earth is this side, or the negative is this side, and the live is on the right, and that's the other way. But if we just turn that around, it's correct. Okay, so the idea is this will fit either way round, depending on which two you use. So we're going to use these two, because that aligns to there, and the negative aligns to there. So we're going to use them two there. Now you get these little caps, which snap into the ones you're not using. You just tap that in. There it is, snaps into place. And then pop those two off, like that. Get your fingernails under them. And that's where you screw the terminals. Simple as that. And these little terminals fit on only one way. Look at it from the top. You've got a little cutout there so that you can fit these screws down in. Pop the screw in the hole first. There we are. Like that. Pop it on top. And then with your supplied Allen key, you can spin that down on top there. Now the great thing about these is that this brass thing is threaded, so you don't have to have that, where is it, one of these which usually fits in there, and when you're trying to fit the battery it drops out and drops down inside the frame of your bike and you lose it and you end up jamming a crappy one in. You don't have to do all that. These just, they're threaded. I'll show you what I mean. This is the battery terminal there, and it will take normal, it's the same thread as a normal battery screw, so you can put the normal battery screws in, and that, as you can see, just screws in straight to that brass connector. And also, as you can see, you've got them on the front, so if you've got a Harley, they have tabs that go on the front here like that, they just screw on the front. It's kind of a universal arrangement. Just put the other one on. So do them up nice and tight, because that in there that it goes into is a stainless thread, so it's a stainless bolt into a stainless thread. That's it, done. Now obviously measure the standing height of your battery. If you have a bike with a shorter battery, then you have the ability to take that off, and you have that if you need it, and that's handy for getting your battery cap back on. So it's all about universalness, and that particular one needs a cap with it. There we are. And that's exactly how the pennies one went in the Harley, with them clamping on the front, but these ones are going to clamp on top, right, so stuff it in the bike. Hey, just before I bung it in, if you're interested for getting one for your Triumph, this was a YTX12BS, that's the battery code on this one, that's the MTX or MBTX112U. But don't worry, all you have to do, if you go onto eBay, Buster's own website, wherever you go, just put your bike in, and they will give you the correct battery for your bike. There's probably, I think Motobatt only make 5 batteries, and that's it, and they cover hundreds of different bikes. It shows you how universal it is. Right, orientate the way we were, so it's live on the left if you wish, and ground, earth, negative, whatever, on the right. Okay, so make sure everything's out of the way. Nothing's going to be trapped underneath it. A bit fiddly, use your third hand and then slip it down in. Now what you probably will find is that the little plastic thing that it stands on will kind of sometimes snap into place and jam it, so it'll give you a nice firm fitment, and it doesn't move around at all. Obviously I don't have the rubber strap that went on this, but I'm not too bothered because it don't go anywhere and the seat sits right on top of it, so it's not really the end of the world. This is my battery minder. I'm going to still run a battery minder because I believe in them. I think it's a great way to preserve the battery and lengthen its life. But we put, obviously, as we said, everything about just now, the live lead goes on first, always. And when you put any sort of extra connection, extra item, such as a battery minder onto your battery, put it on top of the connection, not underneath it. Make the connection from the actual live for the bike, the first one in line on top of the battery. Don't go messing about in between. Okay, so that must be the first one to touch. Then you put the battery minder on, there. That's it. And put the boot back on. If you have one of these little rubber boots for your battery, put it on, don't leave it hanging off, because it does prevent any issues. There we are. Stops that touching, and the other side, battery minder. Now, ready to undo this, and once that's covered, you're not likely to arc across the two when you're reconnecting. That's it. That's it, there we go. And once again, the bike's connection itself goes first, then any aftermarket stuff that you might have, heated grips, whatever, connected, go on top of that, not underneath. So we get that connected in there. Bit fiddly, but not out of the ability of anyone. Bit of common sense, there we go. Now if you get a little arc, a little spark off that when it goes in, it's not the end of the world, won't hurt you. And there's about 4 or 5 turns into that brass thread. Lovely. There we go. Now this is the point where, obviously, quite finished there, that's it, simple as that. If you want to cover up the earth side, you can. A few people have said in the past, I've had a couple of questions actually on the Q&As last year, should you put grease or Vaseline on battery terminals before you connect them? No. A lot of people think that obviously if you put grease or Vaseline between, then you'll get a better connection between the two. you won't. You're actually making an insulator. There should be absolutely nothing whatsoever bone dry between the tab on the wire and the terminal. It should be bone dry between the two. Where you do put the Vaseline is over the top of the whole lot. So if you've got a bike that's going to be really out in the wet and snow and the filth, it doesn't hurt now to put literally petroleum jelly or Vaseline all over that, and that will keep the weather off it. But that's the reason for putting it on. The only reason you'll ever see Vaseline on battery terminals is to keep the weather and the corrosion off them once they're connected. But connecting them in the first instance, they must be bone dry. Even if you've taken them apart, you've touched them and you end up with a greasy layer, get some thinners or something and clean it off. Otherwise you will inhibit that connection and you'll build up resistance. You won't get quite enough power through the battery. You won't get enough connected to the bike. So that makes sense as well. Right, let's see if it works. Do you know work pen?
Hope so.
Let's see if it works. Okay. That's it. Keys. Alright, Jane Pen.
We have opened the back door, by the way.
We got nagged that, didn't we, yesterday? Ventilate your area. I don't know if he was talking about something else, but there we go. Fire in hole. That turns over probably twice as quick. I was getting what, boom. But now you get. Awesome. And again. Now the Motobatt system means they're completely charged before you get them. You don't need to charge them up. Paranoia tells me I usually put them on an Optimate anyway, so I'm going to connect it up to the Minder at least overnight, just to kind of top it out, that sort of thing. So that's just one more point. Just leaves one more thing, extremely important indeed, and that is that if you're going to get rid of your old battery, obviously you don't chuck it in the bin. Obviously you don't just take it to the tip and throw it. Don't even put it in your recycle bin. That must go to a proper recycling centre. It's even made a note on there. It must be properly recycled. That's what this sign means. Now if you haven't got a local recycling centre, you can take it to a garage. Any workshop, car dealer, bike dealer, whatever, will have a facility for getting rid of batteries. Even if they have to pay. Even if you have to pay. Pay up. Honestly, come on, it's the environment. Don't chuck a battery out. That's got about 3/4 of a pint of sulfuric acid in it. And lead, oh come on, do we need to say any more? Right, so recycle them properly. That's it. So there we are. Upgrade the battery to Triumph. £48.99, guaranteed for 12 months, Motobatt. If you can't find Motobatt, if in your country they don't exist, then just go for something that's gel filled that offers you more cranking amps. You heard that, that spins over, whereas before it was, it just wasn't nice. And you can buy these liquid filled batteries for about £35–36, but it's a false economy. For an extra £12 I got that. No brainer, innit? Okay, anything else, mate?
That's it, thank you.
Take it easy, ride safe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.